Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is part 4 of our Harvestella job class guide, and today we're going to cover the two classes that you get during the course of Chapter 3C, Cruel Automata. These are the Avenger, which you can see me wearing right now, and the Pilgrim. I mentioned a couple episodes ago that in most of these pairings, you're going to have one physical class, one magical class. You'll also have one melee and one ranged. There are a few exceptions to that. The first one we talked about was week 2, where both were melee and physical. This week, while we do have one physical and one magical, they are both ranged classes. And the first one is the Avenger. You'll get this as soon as you hire Braca. And it's one of the interesting classes because it's one of 3 classes that lets you effectively change your element, sort of. So, looking at it, you have your first ability is called Reload. What this is going to do is going to switch between what says Flame and Freeze rounds, which is going to change your damage type from fire or ice. However, you have a default underlying damage type, which is also piercing. So your passive for increased piercing damage, as well as your enhanced normal attack, are both going to increase your base damage with this class. Now, your other ability that you're going to get in this class is Hollow Point. This is a great one. What it does is you shoot the enemy and then you jump back away from them, and there's a good chance that it's going to inflict a bind effect on them, which would be called like a rooting effect in other games. So they can't move, they're stuck where they are. So it's a great, get out of danger card if an enemy is running up on you and hitting you, you're running low on health. So to demonstrate these, your reload, you'll see that blue thing. That's what it means by now doing ice damage. And as you can see, it reloads pretty quick. And then it's now fired. The color it shows is what damage type you're going to become. And higher ranks of reload are going to increase the cooldown time. So let's run up on one of these guys. Shoot him. Oh, he is weak to ice, so you can just switch that. And now you can see you're doing this. He's up on me. So bounce back. He cannot be bound because he's a fear. So that's not going to work. But on most enemies, it will do that. Your next tier, when you get to tier 2, your first ability is called Tactical Fire. This is going to be another piercing attack damage. You're going to shoot them, but then it's also going to increase your crit rate by 50%. And we'll show that right here. Just fire. It's a big hit. And now you can see I've got the buff crit rate plus 50%. This will stack with others, so if you've got like the Samurai class, who also has a crit rate plus 50%, they'll stack together. Moving on, in that tier, you're going to have add combo to normal attack, so you'll just have more combos, same as with the Sky Lancer and Shadow Walker. But your first cross-class passive is going to be an 20% increase break gauge fill rate. So when you're fighting things like the fears or bosses, and you're hitting at their weak spot, regardless of what class you're equipped with, it'll fill about 20% faster. Once you hit to tier 3, you'll also get a 20% increase to the break damage. So this is a class really built for fighting bosses especially. And finally, our last ability is called Lethal Trigger. It's going to create a damage field, so it's going to be a circle on the ground when it's loaded with flame rounds. But when you have an ice for your thing, it's going to try and slow the target down when loaded. So let's show these off. Right now we have ice in there, and it's going to try and slow him. You saw those few hits. And now it's not working too well on him. So we'll move out of the way. All these guys. We'll switch our reload. Let me kill these guys real quick. These guys are weak to... One of them's weak to ice. The big guy is. But this is going to show you real quick. You can see, okay, I've got that done, and I need to switch because that guy's weak to fire. Oh. And so you can just really quickly switch your elements real fast. That's one of the advantages of, especially once you hit reload level 3. And there you go. And we'll just pick up these up while we're waiting on the cooldown. And last time we were on Frost, so now let's try to hit this guy with this one. And you can see there's that burning spot on the ground to try and do damage to him. And that is the Avenger. It's a really useful class. It's really powerful. There's a lot of dungeons where you have enemies that will alternate between being weak to fire or ice. So it's a really common one to use for late game. Next, we have the Pilgrim. Let me eat something. We have stamina. Now, this is a ranged magical class, but the element for it is slashing damage. You're going to attack, and you're going to use these little blades that are floating around behind you. So you'll get this when you unlock Shrika, or Shrika, however you want to say her name. And that's going to be right here, right next to the fighter. Your first ability is going to be called Sefer Sarqual, or Saraquel. And it says it jabs multiple times using Dogma, which is the name of those daggers that you have, with a slash attack. So this one's kind of an interesting one. It's got a bit of a charge up. Let's try to see this guy here again. You got to be kind of close. It's not as distant as other range classes, but you'll see it'll put your daggers up there, and then it takes a little bit, and then they shoot. And that's what that ability does. So, moving on, your second ability is Choreo Purgatorian. This is going to be a wide range ability. It's going to be similar to the fighter's, what is it called, slash ability? Crescent Slash. It's going to create a circle around you with the Dogma blades. You got to be real right up on them. So this is kind of a melee range as well, but it also has some range to it. It's not right up on them. So this is a weird class for that regard. And that's it for this tier. You're going to have increased slash damage and enhanced normal attack. So again, just like with the Avenger, both of your passes for this tier are going to increase the attack damage for this class. Next, you have Rune of Mana. This is going to be slash and lightning magic attack. So this is one of your couple classes that have access to lightning damage centered on the target. So this is going to be similar to like an attack field, like what you just saw with the fire one. And we'll demonstrate that here in a second. Your passives for this tier, you're going to have an add combo to normal attacks, same as with the Avenger and the two in we discussed earlier, the Sky Lancer and Shadow Walker. But then for some reason, you get a 20% thing for increased continual damage. This class does not have any continual damage abilities, I don't believe. Nope. It does not have a continual damage ability. So there's no continuous magic damage, no continuous physical damage. So this would be best paired with like the Shadow Walker. But our third ability, come up to this guy here. You can see we got a little bit of range. And you just do, it's not quite an area creation, but it is a multiple hit just centered on them. So it's a really powerful ability. And then finally, once we hit to tier 4, we'll have our last ability, El's Bolt, which is a damage field. This is an actual damage field. It's a pretty good sized damage field that does lightning damage. And you're also going to get reduced magic damage by 20% as your cross-class passive. So, we'll do our final one here. And there's your continuous damage field. It's a good sized field. It's a little bit bigger, I think, than the fire one that we created with the Avenger. But there you go. This is a good class to kind of pair with like the Shadow Walker or anything else that does reduction to magic damage, such as the Mage, where you can stack your other abilities. this isn't the strongest of the classes. It's interesting, certainly, but you could perfectly get by without using this class ever because there's so many other slashing type classes. Anyways, that is it for today. Next time we will cover the two solo classes, the ones that you get without a paired one, and those are going to be the Assault Savant and the Lunamancer. Until then, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will catch you next time. See ya!